Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Christina, and today I'm going to be talking about the hottest topic in biology, climate change. And just to make it a little less gloomy, we're going to bring in the bull shark. So to kick this all off, we got to talk about how climate change is affecting the oceans in general, right? The oceans are absorbing a large majority of the heat from climate change itself. This is leading to ocean acidification. It's leading to a decreased dissolved oxygen in the water. And, this is really important because we use the ocean for everything. We use it for food, we use it for transportation, we use it for fun. It's our moneymaker. And from here, we really want to look at the effects on predator populations, on the animals that eat the other animals, on the ones that are holding the ecosystem together. How are they being affected by all of this? Because they are particularly vulnerable. They are sensitive to their temperature. They have a higher metabolic rate because they're usually larger animals. If they're losing food, they're going to struggle a lot. And we really want to know how these effects are how this is going to affect their ecosystems that they're coming from. So where I'm going to go with this specifically is going to be into bull sharks. So I'm going to use bull sharks as our study example here, Carcharodontis lucus to call them scientifically, because they're kind of special in a little bit of ways. So they're very large and they're migratory. They move throughout their life. They have seasonal migrations as well. They are what is considered euryhaline, so they can live in both freshwater and saltwater. Most sharks cannot do this. Most marine animals cannot do this, so it's very special. They're exothermic, so they're completely dependent on the temperature of the water that they live in to survive. And you see bull sharks interacting with humans all the time. You see them right up there with great whites. People run into them all the time. People get bit by them. And that's, again, because you're going to see them in these rivers a lot, where other sharks are not going to be. And then they have a higher range of thermal tolerance, so they can tolerate a lot of hotter temperatures than most animals can deal with. So a few of the things I'm going to be looking into for Mr. Bull Shark are juvenile nursery ground use, the adult migratory behavior, the potential effects of the increase in temperature on the metabolic rate of the bull shark. And what I'm really trying to figure out here is, are the bull sharks benefiting from the increased temperature? Are they gaining ground? Are they actually utilizing more habitat because of the temperature increase? And how far can they take that? So as a disclaimer, I do have a lot of studies, but we have 12 minutes here, so I'm going to pick one or two from each category. So my first study that I did was on nursery ground use. So the usage of juvenile bull sharks in estuaries. They spend their first several years of life in an estuary normally until they move out towards the ocean when they mature. And the question we're really looking at here is, are they using estuaries that were previously too cold for them to actually survive in? But now, because of climate change, the water is warmer. And how is that going to affect the trophic structure of that ecosystem, right? So the paper I'm looking at here is by Bangley et al. From 2018. They did a gillnet survey in Pamlico Sound, North Carolina, in the Atlantic Ocean over the winter from February to December, and they did this from 2003 to 2016 over a several year study period. And they tracked the long-term changes in environmental variables like temperature and salinity and stuff like that, and also the catch per unit effort. How many sharks did they find in the area during certain times? And then some of the results from Bangley et al. Here that I want to highlight is on the left, they measured the catch per unit effort of these juvenile sharks during May through September. And you can see in those middle months over the summer, your June, July, and August, when it's the hottest, they are seeing the most juvenile bull sharks. And what they did was they did bull sharks that were a year of age or younger, you're young of year, a year or older, and then they did a category where they combined them. That's those three bars you're looking at. And then on the right, they did the same resident catch per unit effort check over the entire study period from 2003 to 2016. And you can kind of see in these beginning years, they barely found any bull sharks at all. There were several years they found nothing, and then all of a sudden they're seeing an increase in number in their catches. And you know, the question there is that because of the water temperatures? Is that because it's getting hotter? So the next thing we're going to get into here is the adult migratory behavior, right? And the thing here is we've barely even scratched the surface. We've barely gotten started on even looking into this. The big thing really is that they're extremely large. They're difficult to track. You have to catch them, you have to get a tracker on them, and you have to hope that the tracker pings something, right? So it's really hard to track these animals and really know how many of them are out there and what they're doing. But it's important, we need to know. So the first thing is really getting studies going where we're tracking these bull sharks and where they're going for their migrations. But what we have seen in the few studies that are done is that it's possible that they are using new submarine grounds than they have been before, areas they've never been seen in. They typically, go south in the winter and north in the summer, as I mentioned. And this paper we're going to look at here is by Lubitz et al. They did this in Sydney Harbor, Australia, and they did some acoustic tagging from 2009 to 2024, about a 15-year study, and they recorded the residency time, how long the sharks stayed in the area, and the water temperatures over that period. And they also actually found the earliest detection of bull sharks in the Sydney Harbor area on 3 different occasions. And the first thing I'm kind of showing here is really just like their proof that the temperature from this time period from 1982 to 2024 has actually increased, right? So they did a trend over the area. The graph on the right is just a zoomed in of the little square on the left of Sydney. And they just showed that there has been an increase in the water temperature of about 0.67 degrees Celsius over their time period. Then next up, what you're going to see here, this is their data on the residency time of the bull sharks in Sydney Harbor. So you can see they measured it by the year and the average length of time that they spent in the harbor. And they ended up finding that there is an average delay in departure by about a day per year. So over, a period of 1982 to 2024, they're leaving the area a day later every year. That ends up being like several weeks later in the season now than they were at the end of the century. And the last quick point I want to highlight is the metabolic rate can possibly be affected by the increase in temperature, right? So sharks are ectothermic animals. They rely on the external temperature of the water, and higher temperatures lead to a higher metabolic rate. You need more oxygen, you need more energy, you need more food to just maintain basic survival. And then bull sharks on top of that are what's called an obligate ram ventilator. So they have to move through the water to actually get the water to go over their gills and filter oxygen. So that adds a new layer to this for them because, it takes oxygen. They have to burn oxygen to get oxygen, pretty much. So the paper I looked at here is going to be from Lear et al. And they did their research in the Fitzroy River in Australia. And they did a comparison between bull sharks and sawfish during the dry season to see just how much they are struggling with the heat and how much body mass they lose. So that we can kind of figure out what's called a lethal endpoint, which basically is at what point they absolutely could not sustain life anymore. And then what Lear et al. Did is they made a couple graphs based on current and predicted data. So what you can see on the left is our temperature models. The purple line is present time, and then the pink and orange are their predictions for the future if things keep going the same way they are now. And you can see based on the right, the comparison between the sawfish and the bull shark. Your bull shark is definitely struggling more. So when you see the lines get into those light gray areas of block text on the back of the graph, that is where they are approaching that lethal endpoint. And when you get into the dark gray, that is when you start experiencing death. So based on where the bull sharks are at currently, if the models predict correctly, the temperatures that they could sustain are not much higher than what they are sustaining now. All right, so what does it all mean? Bringing it all back together. So we've seen juvenile bull sharks utilizing new areas for nursery grounds. We've seen evidence for adult bull sharks migrating further north than they've ever been seen and spending a longer time there. We have seen evidence for increased water temperatures, increasing metabolic rates in animals. And we have seen that the usable habitat of the bull shark potentially is expanding at this point in time. They are coming back, they are increasing in population. But for how long, right? How long can they maintain this? How long can they sustain it? What does the future hold for our bull shark? Questions that we have to answer, more studies that have to be done for us to get even close to those answers. We need to know, is temperature the primary driver of spatial use? Could it be reproduction? Could it be food? Could it be salinity? There's a lot of other things that could be making them move to new areas. Are there gender difference? Like I was saying, reproduction. Do the females go places the males don't go? What are the trophic consequences? So sharks moving into new areas, how does this affect the area they're leaving? How does it affect the area that they're going to? A new predator taking resources and food from the area is going to have a top-down effect on the ecosystem. How will these increasing temperatures affect anthropogenic interactions? So interactions with humans. Are we going to be coming into contact with bull sharks more? Is that going to affect their conservation efforts, right? Like people aren't going to want to protect an animal they think is scary and dangerous. And if the waters keep warming, how warm can the bull shark handle, right? So at what temperature is it they cannot eat that much to survive, and the species is going to suffer as a whole, right? So yeah, that's what I've been looking at, and I would love to hear some questions. Thank you guys so much for listening.